In today's episode of the podcast, we're going to talk to a real busy working dad who's really making real fitness gains in the gym. And we'll get his tips, his strategies, his tactics for how he actually does it when you're a busy working professional, you have a full-time job, you have a wife, you have young kids at home, you're juggling all the things. Is it actually possible to have a consistent gym routine and make real fitness gains? Learn Mark's story in this episode of the podcast, coming at you in just a moment.
Welcome to the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast, where we hear and learn from our coaches, CrossFitters, and Glen Ed community leaders. Now, here are your hosts, Dallas and Greg.
Guys, welcome to another episode of the CrossFit Edwardsville Community Podcast. I'm Coach G, one of the coaching team here at CrossFit Edwardsville. And if you are a busy working dad who's struggling and frustrated and just trying to find a way to make it possible, like how do you actually get fitter? How do you fit a gym routine on a consistent basis and not end up losing your family, losing your job? Like how do you actually balance and juggle all of these things? If that is your struggle, this podcast is for you. And I get to actually invite one of our CrossFitters here, the man, the myth, the legend, one of our morning OG CrossFit badasses, Mark Hemmer. Mark, welcome to the podcast.
What's up, G? Thank you for having me. Excited to talk about this topic.
Well, hey, so to our audience, Mark officially became a part of our CrossFit community on May 11th of 2018. By day, he's a director of marketing. He's a husband to his wife, Delaney, father to two young kids at home, getting stronger every day in the gym. Today, we will learn about Mark, the CrossFitter, and the man outside the gym, and learn about how he actually does it. So, Mark, if you're good with it, we'll launch right into some of our easy starter questions. Are you ready, Mark?
Shoot.
So first, you have a lot going on in life. Mark, is it actually possible? Is it possible to do fitness and get stronger and also keep all of these other areas of your life in line?
Yeah, it is. It is possible. It takes a lot of deliberate planning. And it takes a lot of time management and carving out a space in your day to dedicate to physical fitness. And to me, that really all starts with figuring out, what type of fitness you really like to do. One cool part about CFE is that there are people working on a variety of disciplines. You have people that are trying to train for endurance events. You have people training for Go Ruck events. You have people training for CrossFit team events, individual events. You have me who, cosplays as a power lifter in my spare time. So you have all kinds of people that are there to, do what they can to become stronger, faster, healthier in their own way. And it's great if you can carve that time out and figure out what it is that you're going to have an enthusiasm doing so that you can make the most of what, in my case, in many people's cases, is a very limited window.
Sure. And we want to bring some clarity to this busy working dad picture. So for our audience here, Mark, give us the reel to reel, what you do, and tell us about your family. Give us the context for your fitness here.
Sure. So what I do for a living is I'm the director of marketing for a marketing agency that is physically based in Peoria, Illinois, but really today we're based everywhere. We have employees in Montana and Alabama and New York City and Argentina and India and everywhere in between. So we're kind of scattered. It's a new way of working. So I work here at this computer in my basements for many, many hours of the day, anywhere between 40, 50 hours a week. The great part is that there's a lot of flexibility. So I will say as a caveat to this conversation, there's really two keys that allow me to do what I do, and I'll get into my family in a minute. But one is the flexibility of the type of job I work. In a remote work culture, which many more people are a part of these days, you are able to carve out that time in your day to dedicate to fitness. The second piece, I'm a father to two young children, Elia, who will turn 4 this December, and Everett, who will turn 2. And then my wife, Delaney, who is a full-time attorney for Madison County. And, the other key, in addition to having a job that affords me the flexibility to get my fitness in the way I want to, it's also Delaney. It's marrying the right person who is kind of a cyborg on that end. And, not only manages her full-time job, but also manages, a kind of a lion's share of the kids' things, because she's just an organizational, wonderkind of some sort. And so I want to be clear that, if there's anything that I do well in my life, I think a great deal of that reflects on her. And really, she has a big part of anything that I'm able to accomplish successfully. So I know it's find a job that suits your lifestyle and find the right wife is, it's not, those are not easy things, but I just want to clarify for context that those are two big pieces of making this.
Major shout out to Delaney for being the amazing tag team partner to Mark, it seems like.
Oh, the Shawn Michaels to my Marty Jannetty, easily the star of the team. And so I do my best to do her proud, but she is a top 5 mom of all time. I'll do.
That's awesome.
Other moms.
So, all right, Mark, you say it's possible to do fitness.
Yes.
Okay. What are some of your recent fitness victories? Like, we give you permission to brag about yourself, give yourself a shout out. HWPO, hard work pays off in the CrossFit space. What have you actually done? So what's good in the Mark Hammer fitness sphere?
Well, so I strict pressed 185 recently, which was a long time coming. I have been working on getting the blues and the greens up over my head for a while. Again, I mentioned that I kind of cosplay as a power lifter. I am not strong competitively in any sense, but I am strong casually in all the senses and try to be better than that. So I'm not so much like, can I compete on a platform? I'm like, if a brawl broke out at the grocery store, would I hold my own? And the answer to that is, probably yes. But there are people, and I want to shout out to the working dads and really all guys out there who feel like the gym is intimidating or it's hard to pursue those goals, because I am not by any means a naturally strong person or somebody for whom those things come easily. There are pursuits that you fall in love with, and you fall in love with them not because you came down the steps on Christmas morning and saw a bunch of gifts underneath the tree. It's pursuits that you figured out, I got to learn how to have fun with coal instead. And so over the many years, I have figured out how to become really good at and fall in love with something that I don't know that I'm naturally gifted in. And in a weird, twisted way, that's really all part of why I love trying to get stronger, because it is an everyday clash of my own, this meat sack body here trying to push desperately against the outer limits of its abilities. And so, I pushed my deadlift over 400 pounds in the last, 2 years, I think. Like, hit a back squat over 3, which I really wanted to, achieve. My bench is coming back. That's, closer to, I'd love to get it over 250, which would be nice, but hit a very smooth 245 the other week. So things are good. I can still run a mile. I do all my, pull-ups and chin-ups and all the things I love doing. I run sometimes incredibly. But yeah, all those things are victories. Like, I get a little bit better all the time, and it's only because it is the tireless pursuit. And again, kind of falling in love with the process of lifting weight and seeing what my body can handle over the long term. I always tell people, when I'm in there failing, which happens, at 3 times the rate of setting PRs, at least. I love the process. I love the process of trying to get stronger, even when things aren't clicking. I just love being in there doing it. And that's something that even when the circumstances were not what they are today, I've always carved out room to pursue some sort of fitness, because it's like a key component of my mental health. It's a key component of my well-being. And so, historically, whether that was running races or lifting weights, pretending to bodybuild, like any of those things, like they were all premised on the idea that, like, if I don't see the inside of a gym, or even, the gym in my garage, I'm going to go insane. And so I have to make this part of my routine for the benefit of myself, but also everybody around me. Like, I'm a better person when I see the inside of a gym.
I think that resonates with a lot of us, because, a lot of us as guys in particular, we're very attracted to numbers and getting stronger, having the objective fitness measurables, but maybe just as important is the emotional and mental health aspect of this, like having a place to go blow off steam, get a good sweat going, and feel centered and at peace again within yourself, because then you're bringing a much happier, healthier, whole version of yourself to the table when you're playing dad, playing spouse, playing professional. I know me, and we've talked about this in the gym countless times. Like, it's like, like every morning when I wake up, all the little anxiety storm clouds creep in. I go, I do the workout, and for a time, the clouds part, and there's like rays of sunshine, and I'm like way happier, way more patient, I'm a way more complete, happy person. And it sounds like that resonates with Mark also.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a major piece of the puzzle. It helps me be more productive at work. It helps me be more productive. Patient is a great word there. It helps me be more patient at home, a better spouse, better father, better everything. So yeah, it's a major component. J.M. Blakely, who I probably talked to you before about, but so he, world record bench press holder, like big, strong dude, invented the JM press, which is the hybrid skull crusher closed grip bench press.
Sure.
Really, like as with most washed up, like giant strong dudes, a total gentle giant of a guy now. And he posted the other day on Instagram about the idea that training hard, which is painful and uncomfortable, is sort of the antidote to the David Foster Wallace prognostication that entertainment would eventually become so pleasurable that we would all become willingly addicted to it. And so if you think about the precious few hours you have in your day that you can be doing something other than working or tending to your family, most people, and myself included, we're doing this. Or
yes.
We're looking
to
at
our
our
audience who's just listening. Mark is pantomiming the endless thumb scroll of the social media entertainment feed.
Exactly. You're looking at your phone. You're looking at your phone when you're supposed to be watching TV. You're playing video games, whatever. Entertainment is very alluring. Sitting, resting, escaping is very alluring. And so JM's point is that, hey, to combat that, you should go do hard, painful things that are for your betterment and learn to, love the idea that, hey, this is not easy. I'm not in here because it's easy. I'm not in here to escape. I'm in here to do the hard stuff, as an antidote to the, willful addiction of entertainment that I think we're kind of surrounded by now.
So what do you think are some of the most common misconceptions or maybe excuses, the more negatively loaded word, but misconceptions that hold back busy working dads from going to the gym, getting started, or making real progress in their fitness?
I think the misconception is that everything has to be in place. So, there are times, COVID's a great example of this. And I know that, CrossFit Edwardsville had to shut down for a little bit. Couldn't have people come in there. And a great example of that was spinning up quarantines, finding community, finding a way to do something, even if it wasn't going to an actual gym. I think sometimes people delay working on their fitness because they think, well, the circumstances aren't right. Maybe they'll be right in a couple of years. Maybe they'll be right now. That's why, to give a shout out to things like rucking, and Delaney does street parking, which is a CrossFit spinoff that happens, in your own garage. You should figure out a way to do something. Would I like everybody to show up to CFE because of the people and because of the, environment? Absolutely. I wouldn't recommend anywhere more than CrossFit Edwardsville. But if you're listening to this and you are a busy working dad and you're juggling a lot of things, my advice, or my most commonly heard misperception that I would like to sort of push back against, is the idea that I can't start until everything's lined up. I think you should start by any means necessary and then let the circumstances fall into place how they need to later. For 3 straight years and some change, I did 100 push-ups every single day. That was every single day. Not one of those every single days where you read the article and it's like, oh, sometimes I took weekends off. Like, no, every single day I did 100 push-ups. And I did that because I could do that anywhere. I could do that if I was traveling. I could do that if I was sick. I could do that if whatever. Like, it didn't matter. It had to happen. It was the same thing as like, eating food that day or brushing my teeth. Like, I had to do those push-ups. And so if you're able to commit and put that bug in your head and say, okay, I'm going to do some type of fitness today, it is possible. And getting started would be, step one.
And to our audience out there, if you are that busy working dad, just get started. Just get started. Start imperfectly, but know that sense, the sense of progress, that sense of self that comes from just getting started, it's so worth it, and the momentum builds very quickly. So, Mark, as we wrap up the podcast here, if you could make just one statement to the world, what would it be? Or to put it another way, if Mark has to choose one thing to be written on a billboard that will be seen by thousands or millions of people, what will that billboard say? It might be a mantra or philosophy or motto that guides you in life. What is your message to the world?
I'm gonna steal one. So at my job, we run EOS, which is the Entrepreneurial Operating System. It's a way of organizing your small business and running operations, as it suggests. And so we name a one thing for the year. And my one thing was choose violence, and choosing violence being making sure that, you're doing the hard thing. You're speaking up at the right moments. I have a wake up and choose violence hats that came from like Steffi Cohen's clothing brand she's associated with. But her explanation, or that brand's explanation for what choosing violence means, is you want to wake up and attack your day with enthusiasm. And for busy working dads, or at least for this busy working dad, that's often very difficult. You wake up and you just think, I just need to get myself through the day. And so it's a cue for me: wake up, choose violence, wake up and attack things in the gym, attack things at work, attack your family in a loving way, and be somebody that goes and applies enthusiasm to the things they're a part of.
I love that. It gets me fired up to go out and do the things that live my best life. Mark, thank you for the gift of your time. Thank you for sharing your insight and your knowledge as somebody who's actually doing the thing. We also want to say thank you to our audience for joining us today. Hopefully you guys got something out of this. Hopefully Mark helped you to break through maybe some mental sticking points that you had. Hopefully he's gotten you fired up to go out there and actually do the thing. And we hope that you do. But for now, thank you all for joining us in this episode of the podcast. We'll see you guys in the next one.